Okay, about okay, so can we start now, please? Now, before we move on, do you have in mind who like to do a presentation? All right, 2, okay, 3, okay. We have minimum before, maximum 6. That's all. All right, so have 1, 2, 3. All right.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I'm also.
PowerPoint, right?
4. Yes or no? No, maybe.
It's a
Presentation.
House today?
PowerPoints
Okay,
about.
yes.
About
Are we presenting to the class?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right, yes.
Okay, so have 5. 6, that's all.
Okay.
All right, now here. You have this write your name back here. All right, 6, okay. And the rest, you can find a paper. And it's better if you could pick some topic now. Any topic that related to Buddhism. And in the, throughout this semester, you see have plenty of topics like Buddhism and politics, Buddhist karma, and so forth. It's all, you can pick any. Thank you. Who has not? Yeah, please pick up. Thank you. So please, the earlier is the better. Don't wait for last minute. Okay. So yeah, the one who does presentation, please write your name. Only 6 person. That's
Yeah. But you said it's how long? Did you say 15-20 minutes?
probably about 15 to 20
Yeah, but
minutes each.
that's fine.
Half.
Yeah, but do you want the last slide to be recited?
No, selection is different.
Yeah, that's why I asked. Because in the classes where I
For
did
biography,
professional, the last slide was always like their
reference.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, let's start then. Okay, last time we stopped at number 9.
There's one more person missing from the presentation.
Thank you.
There she is.
Yeah.
Is that for the paper or the?
Yeah.
For presentation.
It's either that or it's either that or
We don't have
So how many PowerPoints?
Okay, let us start then. Okay, we have 6 students already.
I want to opt out.
I'll take it for it. Why do you opt out? Yeah, we have questions. I just want to know if you're thinking of something I'm not thinking of.
Is that the reading fund?
I know, but I can go like right now. No, you finish my month.
2 hours.
Yeah. Alright, so if you want to opt out and let the other students know, okay? Or you have 6 only because we don't have much time. We'll probably only couple hours, 2 hours to do the presentation. Okay, let's start with the class. And last time we left with number 9, 10, 11. Who did number 9 last time? For number 2? Who did last time? Describe the last view of the Buddha. Who did that? Remember? Alright, okay, let's see. Yo, you remember how was the last meal of the Buddha then?
Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I gotta pull up my notes.
How was that?
Okay, so according to the book, there wasn't a whole lot that detailed about what the Buddha ate, but I did some extra research, and then my partner did some research too, and said that a blacksmith called Chunda, what he did was, in the book it said he poisoned the Buddha, but on another article it said that he fed the Buddha like this boar's dish, or scholars don't really know what it is, but they assume that it's made out of boar, and then he contracted dysentery from it. Either way, poisoned or not, he still contracted dysentery from it. And so afterwards, he was on his way to a religious site. I don't remember the name exactly. It started with like a K or something. And so he started to get really sick, and then he still pushed on through the pain. And basically I'm going to talk more about how the Buddha died more than what he ate. And so he basically said that he was really tired, and so he lied down with his head facing to, I think, the right side. Let me see. Huh?
I thought he was laying down.
Facing north,
Facing
right?
north.
Okay. And then he was between two trees, I believe. And so he said that, there were two shala trees. And then he said to his followers that all contingent things pass away, strive onward towards nirvana with contingents. And then so he decided to meditate in successive trances until he finally passed away.
Anyone want to have more? Actually, according to the Buddhist traditions, Chanda, he didn't have an intention to poison the Buddha, but somehow he get the wrong food, the poison food. Sometimes they say the poison mushroom or poison pork. We don't know, but somehow the Buddha reassure Chanda that don't worry, I don't blame on you. This is time for me to go. But he said that he praised him. The first one, remember, the lady, the young maid, offered him the meals, right? And he said, the first one to offer me the meal and the last one to offer me the meal, they're the same. They have the same marriage.
Oh, they were married?
Yeah, they have the same marriage.
Oh, married.
The marriage. So he didn't blame on that Chunda, and he praised him for the last meal. Even this cost his life, but still, of course, according to the tradition, he told him, don't let anyone to consume this meal, right? Except me. So after that, he got sick and he passed away here. Kushinara, that's where he passed away there. And he passed away peacefully under the two, what they call it, salad tree. So you saw some of his pictures, right, when he lied down. Have you seen that? How the Buddha passed away? And so he passed away so peaceful. And that's the So here's the image that he passed away here, and all his disciples to stay around. He passed away under these two big salad trees. Okay. How about number 10? Who is number 10? How did he read it? This building.
They just did 9. That was
This is number 9. This is 9.
Oh.
How he passed away, right? How he consumed his last meal, right? So what happened if someone get the food and it costs the life of your family members? What do you think? It's really painful, right? But not for the Buddha. He even praised these two: the one who get him, the one who offered him the first meal, and the one who get him the last meal. Yeah, so that he doesn't have any God or any anger. Actually, whoever in Buddhist traditions, whoever claim themselves as arhat or holy monks or nuns should have no anger, no desire at all. I used to ask people, what happens when you go out on the street and you meet that person? What do you think about that person? The one who doesn't have any more anger, doesn't have any more desire or craving. What do you think about that person? What do you think? For us, most of us, or 99% of us, right, it's still rare to see that type of people.
I've never seen anyone like that.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy to find. But in my life, an encounter like Dalai Lama, his compassion is so powerful. The first time I met him in India, it's like the magnet attract me. He's like his compassion, mind is so powerful that attract me like the magnet attract metals. So with that with some kind of practice, you could develop that kind of virtue, compassion, kindness, and so forth. You could feel the spread room. You could feel the arrow, right? Arrow. We call aura. When you come and when you talk to some people, right? Okay. So anyways, this is how he passed away in his way. Okay. The number 10. How was his bread distributed? Who did number 10? Yes, please. Can you tell, please?
But I didn't actually read about the legend of Ahsoka.
Yes.
But I did mention, okay, so he was cremated after his death, and a relic is essentially the remains of a holy person, and they're valued highly and worshipped by many. So obviously the Buddha's ashes were a really important thing to be dispersed.
Yeah.
According to the notes in the Wikipedia, the Buddha's relics were only supposed to go to his clan, Sakya, which he belonged in, but of course many kings desired his relics, so a monk split up all of his relics in 10 portions. 8 of the portions were the body relics, so the ashes that went to 8 different kings and princes and were enshrined and worshipped in stupas there. And then the other 2 were the tool that was used to separate the ashes, and then the tool that basically the ashes were being held. But I didn't write about the legend of, so.
Good, thank you. Anyone want to add more? In Buddhism, it's so important, especially even now. This is the cliff, the Buddha read it, a major project that a group of Tibetan monks, nuns, and lay people, they used to bring the Buddha relics, the Buddha, the Arhat, all the holy monks relic to show around the world, especially in this country. And this is so important. Now, let me go back then. After the Buddha passed away, right? So they could meet him. That's the tradition in India. And this is a lot of miracles around that time, but I don't want to go into detail. Anyway, so after that generations, so 8 kings came to fight for the Buddha relics. So one, he's not a Buddhist monk, he's a Brahmin. His name is Dona. So he stepped out, he said, well, during the Buddha lifetime, he advocates non-violence. So how could you guys fight about his relic? It's nonsense. It's go against his will. It's go against his teaching. So they listened to him, and somehow he stepped out and dispute evenly the Buddha relic to 8 even portion for these 8 kings. And for him, he kept that urns, the base that he put, he dispute the Buddha relic. And of course, according to some traditions, the god, the dragon, the naga, they got that share too. And later on, when King Ashoka unified India, he collected all and divided in pieces, and what they call 84,000 here. when you learn Buddhism and you read some Buddhist literatures, history and so forth, when you encounter a number 84,000, it's not from 1 to 84,000. 84,000 represents the limitless, is the limitless number. It's not from 1 to 84. So later on, we will start today too. The King Ashoka, he spread out to numerous relics and piles around and sent around the Indian continent as well as the other countries in the east and the west too. It's so important. But remember, did you understand why? Do you understand why the monk did not step out to dispute the relic instead of letting that Brahmin man to sell out the fight? Why? Why the Buddhist monk, his disciple, did not step out to do that job? Why? You know why?
To avoid fighting.
Yeah, and plus, it's not much important. Important is, yeah, that's what we talk about today too. The Buddha teaching, not the relics. That's why 3 months we talk about the first Buddhist council. 3 months after Buddha passed away, one famous close disciple of the Buddha, Mahakashipa, he called on to have the first Buddhist council. This is more important. We talk about that. Okay, and even nowadays, many temples still have some kind of special Buddha relic, and I will show you. It's in this. This is really interesting. I think this is short. See. But this is the body, you can say that the body of the monk, the Vietnamese monk, since the 17th century. And this actually did 2 monks, not one. This is in North Vietnam. That when they passed away, they left their body like that. And this fresh body is still intact now. Nowadays, when they examine the body, sorry, I couldn't hear the voice now. I don't know how. And another one, what they call the sixth patriarch or the Renan sixth patriarch. His body is still intact for 1,000 years.
And what's the purpose for that?
In China.
No, why are they doing like that?
What do you mean?
Why are they mummifying them?
Not modify them. After they pass away. Here, this is their body. This is his body here.
But it doesn't make sense to me. I thought the whole purpose of being a monk and being a Buddhist was to recognize that there is nothing of permanence.
Okay.
So why are they making him a permanent figure? I don't understand.
Okay, here. The point I want to say is that, especially for these monks, like this hymn, it's the six patriarchs in the Zen traditions. It's been 1,000 years. His body is still intact.
Okay.
Okay, and you wonder why, right?
Yeah.
So the point I want to mention is that because their mind is so pure, so their body is still intact. For our body, because somehow we have so much stresses, and so much fluctuation in our mind, and that's why our body is not pure enough. So after we pass away, we be gone. But for them, because their mind is so pure, there's the essence of their body is still there. That's why they left this body. They didn't leave this body in purpose. But after they pass away, their body is still intact.
So instead
Because
of
of their
So they didn't
impurity
do
mind.
anything to alter his physical state. They didn't do anything to preserve.
Not at all.
But the video you were just showing showed them putting something on him.
Yeah, and for the two Vietnamese monks since the 17th century, somehow they're real concerned about the decaying process of that
So some of
body.
the parts are starting to decay, so they need to take them.
They just
Even
want
though
to keep it longer.
they died in the 17th century.
So, so the point I want to mention is, yes, this is impermanence for everything, in anything that we see, even in our body. But for these holy monks, because their mind so pure, they could preserve their body, they could keep their body intact without intention. Make sense?
So it's kind of like proof of the faith
The
of,
proof of purity.
the purity of the monk.
And so there's the Buddha relics is so pure, clean, and it's so dependent upon the state of mind. But still, because his mind is so pure, that's why his relic is still there. His relic is so precious, so holy for the Buddhist people.
His body wasn't tainted by the world
Yeah,
because he kept his mind pure.
yeah. You understand that? Makes sense?
In a sense, yes.
Okay.
I think it's kind of like, you know how somebody passed and you want to keep artifacts of them, like if God forbid, no, your grandmother passed or something, you want to keep things of her when she was living to, I guess, remind, maybe that's what they're doing as the culture, they're trying to hold on to him.
Actually, it's still rare. For them, they didn't have intention, like this picture.
Yeah.
He didn't have intention to leave his body intact, but after he passed away, or after he what called enter nirvana, so he just left his body. That's all, in natural way.
Yeah. And his body stayed sitting up like that.
Yeah.
And so he left so
In
peacefully.
natural way. There's just no chemicals. They like you say modifying. No, he didn't. Before they didn't have that any kind of technique to modify them, but they keep their body intact because of their purity, their mental purity. It makes sense. And of course, the Buddhist people, we respect and reverse this kind of pictures of fresh body. So, and I think in Catholic tradition, there's one nun, is that right? One Catholic nuns still keep that body intact, right?
There's
Say that
actually a
again?
number of
Yeah.
saints that they call them incorruptibles.
Yeah.
Basically what it is that their soul is so pure
Yeah.
that after death, for Christians, I believe, and Catholics, you bury them, right? You don't cremate them usually. And so when they exhume them a couple, maybe hundreds of years later or several decades later, they find that their bodies are completely untouched by decomposition. And so sometimes they'll, not embalm them, but cover them in wax to preserve them a little bit more, but that's about the extent of it.
So it's just, but in Buddhism it's so prevail. That's almost every Buddhist country have some monks that is the one who left their physical body still intact even after we can say pass away because of their purity, their mental purity. Okay, so let's move on then. Number 11. Buddhist number 11. Okay, what's number 11? Okay, 11 Buddhist. Yes, yeah. What was the Buddhist art and the culture about Buddha?
The art, so they depicted the Buddha Siddhartha, I guess, by making images, sculptures, paintings of some of his major things that he went through, like when he was meditating. They made pictures and sculptures of the moment he was sitting under the tree meditating. They even decided that since he reached enlightenment, then they should make art based on his presence and not actually him, since I guess his human form, his body was, I guess, like, not worldly. I don't want to mix Christianity in it, but he was beyond this world. So they did art on his presence instead of how he actually looked. And then like, I guess the Happy Buddha, since when Buddhism spread to Japan and China, that's when they created the Happy Buddha.
Okay. Okay. So, any more? Zoom your partner. Okay. Anyway, so according to Buddhist history, at first during the Buddha times, there was no Buddha image, no Buddha structure, and so forth. But one time, when the Buddha, remember, I saw you last time, when the Buddha went to the heaven to teach his mom, I told you last time, and one king, he missed Buddha so much that he ordered, or he put in order that someone should make the Buddha statue for him to respect, to pray, to respect you. And no one could make a Buddha statue, but one heavenly being, he came down and he made that. But this is a legend. But historically, whenever the Buddha went away, so his disciple like Ananda, he would put the Bodhi tree, something that symbolized the Buddha, so that the people, when they came to visit him, but he went out, they would show that respect to the Bodhi trees or his bowl and so forth. So that's the first start of Buddhist art. But later on, if you read these articles, Wikipedia says sometimes it's okay, but sometimes it's not reliable, but we do for educational purposes. But when you write in your written response, sometimes you can quote it, but especially for final paper, please mention and don't quote from here. Okay, but this for general information, that's okay. Yeah. So they have what they call the many phases. They call it phase. That when there's a first century to the present, they make the Buddha statue in the Gandhara and northwest frontier, and sometimes they utilize some kind of Greek traditions to make the Buddha sculpture too. And later on, they have this is the two northern route and southern route. And if you visit Chinese Vietnamese temple or the Thai Burmese temple, the Buddha statue may be different, but it depends upon how the people describe or make this statue based upon their local mentality, right? So sometimes you may see the Buddha in the Thai tradition has the what they call the high the crown, the top crown, and for the Buddhist for the Buddha's statue is different. Other temple is quite different. You see that this is northern part here, and Central Asia. So again, depend upon the country where Buddhism spread. So they make this kind of Buddha statue accordingly. Okay. All right. So let me move on for today. Now it's doing the tree, right? Okay. Now let's do one Buddhism one. Yes, please. Yeah. Okay.
So during the Buddha's life, there was growing popularity of Buddhist practices, and he recognized that what he was leaving behind would encounter many ideological differences in teaching and delivering Buddhism. So he left instruction to be followed after his death to ensure that regardless of differences, no single person or institution would be given authority over his community.
You know why?
Why?
You know why? Why? Well, the Buddha didn't appoint anyone
Right.
to be his successor. Why?
He didn't want anybody speaking on his behalf.
Okay.
I'm just assuming, but like kind of like Christianity, like monarchy was a type of like governmental system that people used to rule over people and kind of like take from them during other times, during those times.
Yes.
Because Because he was the only one to reach.
Not during. And during his time, there's many people like his close disciple attend that to go Arahaship. They holy people too. So why? You close there, you merge there. You know, in army, we in army groups, whether at home, at work, in school and so forth, we have to deal with politics, is that right? What's in politics? Power, is that right? Or someone want to dominate, someone want to be leader and so forth. So that's why the Buddha understand that kind of mentality. That's why he didn't appoint anyone to be his successor, because he really concerned about the mission of religion, a spiritual life with politics.
So it was like the separation
Yes.
between wanting power and wanting to practice.
This is the temptation there, right? When you have some kind of power on other people, somehow we misuse it. So that's why the Buddha didn't appoint anyone to be his successor, except he said, take my Dharma as the teacher, as the garden. Yeah. So you understand, that's why in Buddhism sometimes we stay away from politics. When we involve with politics, wow, all kind of things is fighting. The importance in Buddhist view is that when you involve with that kind of politics, it's fighting. When you fight, you stress out. You find that's just where problem come from. Make sense? Okay. Can you tell one more? Can you review one more time why the first Buddhist council was formed? Why? What's the reason?
Well, it was agreed upon by each settled center that one or more Buddhist councils should meet during the 2 or 3 centuries after Buddha's death, so that they could kind of regroup in the teachings and memorize the teachings. If you want to expand on that.
You want to say some more?
I think also there was one monk who was like, he was happy that the Buddha passed away. And he wasn't happy, but he was like okay with it. And so he's like, we're like free to do what we want now. So then when the other monks heard about that, the leaders were like, okay, we gotta like control this and like preserve his teachings.
Yeah. So right, remember I told you, right? The Buddhist monks did not step out to divide the Buddha reality. As is for the lay people jobs, the important is to compile the Buddha teachings. This is more important. That's why one of his main disciples, Mahakashipa, when he heard that monk, we can say corrupt monk, he said, I'm so happy that Buddha passed, so I'm free now. When Buddha is still alive, he said he restricts me this and that. This, as a monk, we have to follow certain rules. So Mahakashipa heard that that was from that monk. So he called in 500 monks, 500 arhat, the holy monks, to go to a cave to recite the Buddha teaching again. So he is a horse. Mahakashipa is a horse. Another one is Ananda. Remember we talked last time? The one that was the Buddha attendance, and he listened to the Buddha teaching. He said that it's like you pour a cup from one cup of water to other without missing any drop of water. So his mind, he could remember everything the Buddha said. So Ananda, he recited again orally the Buddha teaching. And the other one, we call Upali, he recited the Vinaya, that's in the precept. At that time, the first Buddhist council, there's no writing yet, until the third one. Only 3 months after Buddha passed away, they convened together to have this kind of first Buddhist council. Because that's the main reason. The main reason is, again, because of the group monk, he said, I'm free. So that's why Mahakashipa, he called on other 500 arhats to assemble and to recite Buddha's teaching. All right, how about number 2? Yes, sir. How about the number 2? What's number 2 about?
Describe why and how the Second Buddhist Council was formed.
Yes.
So essentially, there was a dispute over the 10 points, which are storing salt in a horn, eating after midday, eating once and then going again to a village for alms, holding the Upasata ceremony with monks dwelling in the same locality, carrying out officials' acts when the assembly was incomplete, following a certain practice because it was done by one's tutor or teacher, eating sour milk after one had his midday meal, consuming strong drink before it had been fermented, using a rug which was not the proper size, and collecting gold or using gold and silver.
So when you know the times, the time for the second Buddhist council, the times.
The times?
When was that?
Um,
Did it say there?
About a century after.
Yeah. After the Buddha passed away.
Yeah.
You see that? Thank you. You see that talk about the 10 points. For us, it's trivial, but at that time, it's so important for the monks. So they say that the monk not supposed to keep gold, not to eat, to consume meal after noon and so forth. This is so trivial, but that's what they have this kind of argument about. So that's why we have a second one. Important is the third one. Who does the third one? Yes, please. What's the third one about? The third council?
The third council is about how the Emperor Asoka, he started using his wealth to for the religious purpose, but in using that wealth, he attracted a lot of greedy men who took advantage of the wealth, and the third council was formed so that they could get rid of all these heretic monks.
You want to add some more?
What I found is also to discuss the matter of increasing the influence of Buddhism farther than Southeast Asia.
Okay.
And
again, this is important. The third Buddhist council is so important. That yes, like he said, that is because he's so generous, right? Again, Ashoka is so generous that he support monks, nuns, and so forth. So that's why so many people that they didn't have the right mindset in that they want to be monks and nuns to enjoy life. So that's why Ashoka convened this third Buddhist council with the leading of the holy monks, Mongolian, Thich, to push out this corrupted monks elements, and they design some type of Buddhist sutra too. And after that he sent missionaries around India as well as the East and the West, including his son and daughter too. It's so important. And when we see here, yeah, when we talk about him, we see how, especially for his son and daughters. Okay, yeah. So how about number 4, please? Number 4, yes. What's number 4 about?
Number 4 is during the time when writing became very prominent within the culture, and so there was like a need to write down the Buddhist teachings, and because it was getting harder to memorize everything, and so being able to write it down helped like solidify exactly what it says and like keep the teachings like true.
Yeah. It was around 29 BC, around like present day Sri Lanka, where they met, and it was where the 500 monks came together to essentially recite verbatim Buddhist teachings so that they could physically write it down. They wrote it down on palm leaves, and they were successful in actually writing down all the Buddhist teachings. So that way came out as Buddha's words and not as their own human translation of what they thought it to be, because in their memories it was starting because of all the corruption and everything. They wanted it to be pure. They wanted it to be passed down as pure.
Actually, remember I told you about the third Buddhist council? After the third Buddhist council, the Prince Mahinda and the Princess Sangamatri, they are Ashoka children. So Mahinda, he became a Buddhist monk and his daughter became a Buddhist nun. So they went to Sri Lanka and brought all the teachings and translate into Pali at that time. So basically, the Buddhist teachings was written in Pali, and during that time too, Sanskrit too.
The Pali Canon?
Yeah, Pali and Sanskrit Canon is about during the third and the second century, not the first. The first is just formalized or revised of the canon only. Okay. And later on, when we talk about the Buddhist canon, what we call it Pali and the Sanskrit Tipikas, there's one man, one English, they say that missionaries, he's the scholar too. He went to Sri Lanka. He tried to convert Sri Lankan people into Christianity. And somehow he dig out and he want to compare the Buddhist teachings with the Christian teachings. And somehow he because he's a scholar, so he learned Pali by himself. And later on he translated most of the Buddhist teachings from Pali into English. And later on his life, he converted himself as a Buddhist. We studied about that. We learned about that later on. Okay, for number 5, please. Describe the relation of early Buddhist monastic community. Who number 5? Yes. What's about? Only you? Or
I guess so. So it talked about the regulations were really simple during the early years. That they just had to really rely on the community or the lay people to offer them the items that they were allowed to have, and that they had to depend on them for what they call the 4 requisites. Clothing, food, medicine, and the foot of a tree. The foot of a tree.
Okay.
And that their robes had to be made out of rags. Their food were offerings as alms, and their fermented cow's urine. And then it says that they were only allowed 8 possessions. 3 robes, a water strainer, an alms bowl, a needle, a razor, and a belt. Now there's 227 rolls.
The symbol like a bowl, 2 ropes. The symbol. Right? You know why, right? You know the Buddha when he was born, right? He gave up everything, right? He set up that rules, and now you see that especially in there are traditions. Later on we see like last time I asked you, right? You see them. How big is the bowl? Is ceramic or metal?
Metal.
Metal. Okay. Yeah, when they went to Bangkok, I saw this big.
Wow.
Wow, this is I think aluminum. This is like. Anyway, that's the before what they call before things that the Buddhism need to have the bowl, the ropes, the medicine, and the shelter. That's all. The symbol. And naturally, during Buddha times, it is best the monk to stay underneath of the tree one night per night. One night. After that, they need to move out, move to the next one. They're not supposed to stay one spot, except the summer retreat, because in India it's pretty hot. Is it pretty hot in summer?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, in India.
And there's many insect, it's this rain, what we call monsoon, right? Monsoon rain, right? There's a lot of insect around, so the Buddha advised the monk to stay back at the monastery, not to walk during the summertime. So what they call the summer retreat. And most of the time, after that, they spread out everywhere to do the teachings. Yeah, so, and of course, like you heard that the Buddhist monk not supposed to keep gold, money, but for me, I have credit card, everything. It's convenient. It's what depends on how you use. It's not because of money, not because of gold, not because of car. I'm driving the car to the school. I have an laptop. It's a Nordic monk. I have this one, but it's for teaching, not for not for indulging, not enjoying. That's the difference. It depends how you see, how you use us. So it's nothing to be a rich man, a lady. Nothing to be. There's nothing wrong to be wealthy. This is only how you use us, how you use your money, how you use your property, how you use your things that to help others or not. Yes.
Do you live in your temple?
Yeah.
You live there?
Yeah, I have a remember I live there, but actually I take care of 4, not 1.
Here or Indiana?
Here, I have here, Indiana, Kentucky. Actually, I designate my student to take care of the temple. And actually, after this class, I fly to New Jersey to do the special ceremony for New Year over there, and come back here on this weekend. I didn't in my syllabus. I didn't tell you guys that this weekend we have the Vietnamese New Year. You guys know, right? And you get welcome to come there, but this is the option. But it's not much important. The 19th, right, March 19th, we have that special celebration. You can come. This is your choice. All right, so let's just move on. So number, is that number?
6.
Number 6, Buddhist number 6. What is number 6 about? Okay, early Buddhist like communities, number 6. Yes, what's about them?
Okay, so in Buddhism, there's a belief of the triple gems or the 3 jewels, and
Yes.
the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha.
Who have not done this? Yeah, please, you write down so far. Oh, go ahead, please, sorry.
Yep. The book didn't really give me much, so I got most from Wikipedia. I don't know how credible that was. But so the Sangha is the 3rd and the final component of the triple gem, and after the Buddha reached his enlightenment, he began teaching his 5 followers, the 5 followers that first abandoned him when he was trying to reach his enlightenment.
Okay.
And during his teachings, one of them reached the eye of truth, and after that, the Sangha just came to be as well. And in the book, it did say that Sangha relates to the community, but that also refers to the monastic communities and not just the lay communities, but both of them. And that can also refer to the monks and nuns that kind of constituted the Sangha communities. And it was really hard finding information.
Okay.
That's the gist of what I
Okay, so again, later on we study, right, what they call the triple truths, or the 3 things that the Buddhists, if you're a Buddhist, you have to understand and rely upon the Buddha, right? Dharma, his teaching. The Sangha, according to what they call conservative views, as the Buddhist monks and a monastic community. Yeah.
So I have a question, because I've seen it written 2 different ways. Is the Dharma and the Dhamma the same thing? Because I've seen it D-H-A-M-M-A.
Yeah, the same.
Okay.
It's Sanskrit, Sanskrit and Pali is same. There's not much
Okay,
difference.
just making sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So again, this is like in other traditions, right? You have the priest, the pastor, right? They come to support the church financially, and the priest and the pastor provide the spiritual teaching. So that's the Buddhist tradition, right? And actually for the Buddhist, the early Buddhist communities, most of the time, because they respect the Buddha and the Sangha, that's why they offer the land, offer the food, and so forth. All kind of things that they support the Buddhist communities to survive. And remember I told you last time about the wealthy man who put the golds on the route to buy that land, that park for the Buddha and his Sangha to build a temple. You see how sincere they are. And I know that even here, right, in many, some churches, right, someone before they pass away, they put the will, right, to donation money to that church. So simple. Alright, so number 6 describes how the local rulers can support the Buddha's religious endeavors. Number 7, is that right? Who does number 7? Yes, how so?
Yeah, so there were two major kings, King Bibisara and King Kosala. And actually, King Bibisara married Devi, who was King Kosala's sister. So they actually probably knew each other pretty well. But they both supported the Buddha as well as the Buddha supporting them back, because at first Bimbisara noticed the Buddha before he achieved enlightenment and invited him back once he achieved enlightenment.
You got finished? You got finished? Sorry.
No. So then he achieved enlightenment, went to King Bimbisara's palace, and helped Bimbisara become religious, and in return Bimbisara brought out crowds to listen to him, and also gave him a sanctuary to pray and teach called the Sanctuary of the Squirrels. And they were close like most of their lives. And likewise, King Kosala was also close to the Buddha and supported him, and even really revered him as some sort of major religious figure, as he was. Even like kissing his feet and praising him. And in return, the Buddha helped him teach Dhamma and Sangha as well.
Okay. I remember last time we studied about the wild elephants were released by the young king that went to temple harm the Buddha. Remember that young king killed his father.
That's right.
Bimbisara. You follow me? Alright. He imprisoned his father because he wanted to take over the kingdom, and of course, the King Bimbisara is one of the most dedicated Buddhist people to the Buddha.
Yeah,
His son
tortured him.
Yeah. His son imprisoned him. And actually, there's a story. Later on, we talk about that. What they call Pure Land traditions. There's a story that when the young king imprisoned his father, and so his mother, the queen, she put the honey and so forth on her body. So whenever she went into the prison to visit him, she would take out that honey or flour and so forth to give to her husband to survive. And when the young king found out, he almost killed his mom, but his officer stopped him. And from at that time, this queen prayed for the Buddha to show her the Buddha land, so that she could be reborn over there, not here anymore. She tied up her son. That's just the story. But anyway, the King Bimbisara is one of the most dedicated Buddhist followers of the Buddha and other kings too. Most of them, during the Buddha times, they support the Buddha vigorously. There's no king or officers went against the Buddha or tried to harm Buddha, except his own student, his own disciple, Devadatta. Remember last time we talked about? Okay. So let's set time to talk about number 8, please. Is number 8? Yes, for our Ashoka. Yes. How he became a Buddhist.
So
At first, can you tell briefly who's Ashoka then?
King Ashoka was the grandson of Chandragupta.
Yes.
They reigned over India's first major empire. After Ashoka took over his grandfather's throne, they did a lot of conquering of the land around him, like India. And it was a lot of bloodshed, a lot of war. And so he started feeling guilty and regret and remorseful about all the destruction that he had caused. And so while he was during this time of regretness, he saw a monk who encountered a monk who kind of enlightened him, I guess you can say. And he started instead spreading the Buddhist beliefs through the region that he had conquered. He also built a lot of monuments. It's like in the book it says that like in every travel, like anybody who traveled will always see
You built a lot of stupas.
Yeah.
All over India, basically.
Have you seen? You born?
Oh, have I been in India? No, I'm Mexican.
Huh?
I'm Mexican.
Huh?
Oh no, yeah. Definitely haven't been nowhere near. I want to go though. It seems pretty crazy.
Okay, thank you. I read many of you wrote this article related to Ashoka, right? How many of you have read something that related to Ashoka? I read some of you. How many of you? Oh, few of you, yeah. Okay, so you know the. All right. So what the reason why he became a Buddhist? What's the main reason? What's the main?
Was it after Kalinga?
Yes.
Yeah, after the kingdom of
Well,
Kalinga, right?
what happened with
So he basically
Kalinga?
just destroyed Kalinga and made it part of the India Empire. Basically, his whole crew, and so he felt remorse after basically a bunch of bloodshed after that one little kingdom.
Yes. So they say that actually in his inscription on his pillar, he say that he killed more than 100,000 people. That's a lot, right? And after that war, he feel remorse and feel guilty, and he met one young monk. Actually, this is a legend. There's one actually before they call him as the quickest Ashoka, right? The bad Ashoka, the immoral Ashoka. So I don't know whether I told you yet. So he created the hell on earth. Remember? Did I tell you it yet? Not yet, right? All right. So he designated one place, and create that place like a hell on earth, and he ordered people to find the worst men in the country to take care of that hell on earth. So he made the rules that whoever go there cannot get out. So where someone come there, they will be tortured to death. Right? So one day, it's of course many people went there and were tortured over there. So one day there's one young monk. He just received the precept to become a Buddhist monk. And somehow he wandered around, as a monk, right? He wandered around to better food and to give the teaching and so forth. Somehow he ended up there. And he went inside, of course, the gatekeeper, that's me, the one that keep that place, and say that you cannot get out. I torture you until you die. Of course, there's all kind of instruments that torture people, put people into the boiling water and so forth. So this young monk, he's so frightened. He said, "Wow, I just became a monk. I want to cultivate. I want to attain enlightenment and become artist. So forth. I have no chances now. So can you give me another 7 days?" And so that's the gatekeeper said, "Okay, 7 days is okay. You try your best. Good luck." And so yes, because of his sincere mind, within 7 days somehow I attained what called artship. And on the last 7th day, that gatekeeper put him into the hot boiling water, he's still alive. He still sit in that lotus position. He's still alive, and so strange for him. So this gatekeeper sent a message to Ashoka to come down and see. So when Ashoka came and saw that young monk who still sitting inside the boiling waters, he's so amazed that he want to become a Buddhist, and somehow he want to destroy that place, and the gatekeeper, when he went out, also when the king went out, so when to go out, so the gatekeeper say no, you establish a rule, whoever come here, you cannot get out. So the king said, who came here first? The gatekeeper. She ordered to kill the gatekeeper, and after that he demolished that place and became a policeman. That's the legend how he became Buddhist. But of course, the main thing is his feeling of duty to kill more than 100,000 people to conquer that place. And later on, he became a great Buddhist emperor. He built all kind of pillars, stupa, and so forth. This is over here. And actually here in this country, we have what they call the resident area, right? You see how big this emperor is? How big this empire is, right? Who been in Europe before? Do they have rest area? Do they have rest area over there in Europe? Rest area.
Rest areas?
Do they have that?
What kind of rest areas?
Like here, whenever you, let's say, when
on the road.
Yeah, on the road.
Yeah.
Do they have that? Oh, they have. Okay. And actually, when
No, they don't have those.
Huh?
I don't remember.
They don't
I've
remember.
never seen anything like that over there.
They don't have
They have
that.
gas stations.
Gas
They don't
station.
have like a rest area like you would see here on the highway.
Yeah. Actually, I went there in I think 1996 or 97. I'm so surprised that actually I visited what they call the famous Catholic church in Paris. What they call that one? Notre Dame, is that right? Notre Dame. And I went down to the basement to go to the restroom, and I saw that people walking there. People walking. That they take care of the money, because whenever people want to go to the restroom, you have to pay. So there's some people who work in the restroom. You have to pay.
Yes.
Yeah, there's somebody who just sits there.
There's
somebody. I've seen it.
No, I know. Like I got out of a bus station in France, and I really needed to use the restroom, but it was like €3, and I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Yeah. Somehow in this country we take it for granted, right? When we go to the rest areas, it's plenty of actually we are so blessed, right? Over there, I'm surprised that you have to pay. And even people, they work in the restaurant.
Yeah, there's somebody just sits there and collects your euros when you.
Yeah, the point I want to say is somehow Ashoka, he established many rest areas in India 1,000 years ago. That's what I want to say. Right, he established many rest areas for the travelers. He established the free clinic for the people.
He like dug wells too, right? And
Yeah.
stuff like that for all.
Yeah, for the people, for the travelers to rest and so forth.
He made like a day that you couldn't slaughter animals or something like that.
He made that rules at his palace. Just on Sunday, they could not kill chicken, pig, and so forth. That's just so he's so generous. And
Pretty crazy after he killed like 1,000 people. It's like, you know what? Now I'm gonna go ahead and
yeah,
put a ban.
I have it in all the days.
yeah, here's the place.
My bad.
Yeah, here's the place that he put the stupa. Somehow, that's why good or bad depends on our mentality. right? This one action, people may view us as a bad guy. No action, people may view us as a good person, depending on our mentality. Sometimes we may regret things that we do. All right. Anyway, so who have not signed this for this number? All right. So have a nice weekend. See you next weekend.
Enjoy your trip.